Greetings and welcome back to the next clip where we are looking at how we can reintegrate our stress, anxiety and depression. In today's clip we're going to be looking directly at where does depression start and what is the cause of our stress, anxiety and depression. So as we've already looked at, we've realized that there is two sides to everything. There's two perspectives. Okay, we live in a realm of duality. We're in a relative world. And our primary cause of angst is we had expectations that were just not lived up to, expectations that we believe should have been, that were right, and they were wrongfully not upheld. So now when we look at the two sides to everything, we then start looking closer. And if we study really closely, we'll actually notice that if we fail to observe both sides, okay, if we fail to observe and integrate both sides, both perspectives, we lead to conflict. And when we take careful consideration and integration of the both sides, of both perspectives, that leads to a deeper understanding, it leads to tolerance, it leads to peace and harmony. All right, so let's dig deeper. Right and wrong are just subjective concepts of comparisons that coexist. This is high-grade stuff. This is pretty deep stuff. So right and wrong are just subjective concepts of comparison that actually coexist. They cannot exist separately. They are together. Our stress and anxiety and depression is a result of not reconciling our polarized, conflicted feelings that stem from our separated perspective. I'll say that again. So our depression is a result of not reconciling our polarized, conflicted feelings that stem from our separated perspective. If we look at couples getting divorced that say the reason is irreconcilable differences, we will notice that they're just two people with a fixed mindset, each polarizing themselves as right and the other as wrong. Polarizing themselves as right, each is right, and the other is wrong. And they're not willing to go beyond that. Their mind is fixed. Right, and we all see how much sadness and anguish that creates. Now here's the amazing thing, because our universe is actually intelligent. Okay, if we look at the intelligence that goes way beyond ours, if we look at we don't even have to think our heart to beat, we don't even have to think our digestion to happen. It happens by itself. There's an intelligence that governs that. That's a personal truth. All right, let's look at a global perspective of that. If we just leave Mother Nature well alone, she orders herself perfectly. Okay, that's a global truth. If we then go beyond that and we look at a universal truth, that we actually look at how all the planets and all the everything in space is revolved. They're on their own elliptical, and they're all in perfect proximity to others. There's no randomness that is going on. Everything is in a state of order, and there's actually, the more you pan out, the more you see the bigger, broader perspective, the more you realize that there is a hidden order that actually governs everything, and it's intelligent. Now, this intelligence wants to actually give you feedback to saying that there's a broader perspective that you're ignoring, that you're not seeing, and it wants to, and that is the feedback mechanism that we're being given. So we actually, every time we're actually missing out on something, that emotion is there to say, hold on a second, you're a bit off track, check it out. So it's our failure to view the broader perspective, the both perspectives, holistically, that sends us feedback to say, hold on, something's missing. If you take a pendulum and swing it, the pendulum will never come to rest at a stage that's polarized, that's out on the limbs. It has a set point, it has a trajectory that it always passes by, and eventually it'll get to settle at. So we cannot expect to sit at one level, okay, and sit there in harmony and peace, because it's going to want to, the gravity is going to want us to bring it back into balance again. So it's not about being constantly in the set point perspective, because there's no variety and there's no contrast, and that's what we're here for. So it is just to dance around it, around that set point, and not to try and shun it and say it doesn't exist. This is the set point, or that is the set point. No, You're going to be gently coerced back into the balance. So what I'm saying here is this: the universe is always seeking balance. It's in a state of dynamic equilibrium, and it's wanting to seek balance, and it'll always actually be giving you feedback to point out your void, to show you what's missing. The universe itself is in a state of growth. It's not fixed. So whenever we fixed, okay, and we're not in any kind of state of growth, which is our natural state of expansion, just as the universe is expanding, then it's not fixed. It's in a growth state. It's there to remind us that we need to get back to our natural state of growth. So whenever we're out of that state, we're going to feel like something is missing. We're going to feel that there's a void. We're going to feel that there's a hole. So if you look at a void, hole, what is depression? Do you see where I'm going? So we are all parts of this divine equation, okay, that completes the sum, because we're all included. Because we're all included, because we're all part of the sum of the total, we'll always get the feedback to push us back into that magnificent inclusion state of oneness, of balance, of harmony, of the deeper understanding. It's on our side. It's trying to show us the deeper truth of the path of higher enlightenment. So now let me try and symbolize a way that can describe the feelings that we have of sadness, anxiety, and depression. And it's just kind of cool in a way that symbolizes. All right, so we've got these two perspectives, okay? And when we sit in the fixed mindset, not the growth one, we then say, I'm right, this is wrong, okay? And I need now, I've got to be now in a state where I have to write this, and I'm going to give this compression, I'm going to give this repression, I'm going to give this separation, oppression, and then what happens? You're left with that depression. So emotions and perspectives that are rendered to compression, oppression, suppression, and repression, the result is depression. So what is it about? It's all about reconciling and reintegrating our polar opposites. Because even our polar opposites have relative good and bad. But they have to, because if everything's inclusive, there has to be bad and the good and good and the bad, bad and the good and good and the bad. And that's what brings about the balance. So this is very, very well displayed in The Tale of Two Wolves, which is going to be our next clip. And in The Tale of Two Wolves, it's a Native American story, but we only get told half of the story. We're not told the complete story. In the story itself, we are oppressing, suppressing, repressing, oppressing the one perspective. And the one perspective is inside of us. We have two wolves. One is light and feeds off love and divinity. One that is dark and feeds off of fear. And they say they're at war with each other. And the one that wins is the one that you feed. But now what's happening is we're immediately saying the light wolf is right and the dark wolf is bad or evil. And we're saying that we need to starve it. We need to oppress, repress, suppress. And then we know where that leads us. That gives us the state of depression, because we still need to give it observation. And in the next video, it's very cool. It was mind-blowing when I first grasped this concept of what to do. So I'll see you in the next video where let's go take some wolves for a walk. I'll see you there.
The Big Cigar.